Welcome to the golden age of American automotive history, a time when roaring V8 engines ruled the streets and legendary designers pushed the ultimate boundaries of luxury and speed. But today, we aren't just talking about your average classic muscle cars. These 12 cars aren't just vehicles, they're priceless pieces of history that money alone simply can't buy. They are automotive masterworks, locked away in climate-controlled vaults and heavily guarded private collections. Some of these cars were made in single-digit numbers, and one of them changed the course of car design forever. Can you imagine seeing one of these on the road today? It would be like witnessing a ghost in broad daylight. By the end of this video, you'll know the incredible, dramatic stories behind 12 of the rarest American vintage cars ever built, spanning the most innovative decades from the 1960s to the 1980s. You'll definitely want to stick around, because our number one spot belongs to an unexpected game changer that completely redefined the limits of speed and style on the global stage. Buckle up, and let's dive into the ultimate countdown. Number 12. 1988 Chevrolet Corvette Callaway SledgeHammer. Kicking off our list with a massive dose of 1980s audacity, we have the 1988 Chevrolet Corvette Callaway SledgeHammer. While the late 80s wasn't traditionally known for record-shattering horsepower, Reeves Callaway decided to rewrite the rules of engineering. He took a standard C4 Corvette, bolted on twin turbochargers, and created a staggering 898 horsepower masterwork wrapped in a highly specialized aerodynamic body kit. This legendary machine didn't just look fast, it was driven onto a track in Ohio where it clocked an unbelievable top speed of 254.76 miles per hour. The wildest part? After setting the world record, it was driven back home on public highways with the air conditioning blasting and the radio playing. It is a genuine one-of-one creation, an untouchable icon of 1980s excess that cannot be replicated. But what comes next might just blow your mind. It's a car from the late 1960s that only a handful of people in the entire world have ever even seen in person. Number 11. 1969 AMC AMX/3. Stepping back into the experimental days of the late 1960s, we encounter the astonishing 1969 AMC AMX/3. At a time when AMC was desperate to shake its budget-friendly commuter image, they enlisted legendary designer Richard Teague and European sports car experts to build a true mid-engine American supercar. The goal was to rival the Ford Pantera and top-tier European exotics. Powered by a potent 340 horsepower V8, the AMX/3 was a low-slung, aerodynamic masterpiece. Sadly, the project proved too expensive for AMC to mass produce, and the plug was unceremoniously pulled. Only 6 of these rolling sculptures were ever completed. Today, the AMX/3 is a priceless what-if scenario. What would it be like to own a car that only a handful of people in the entire world can touch? Finding one at auction is practically impossible. But don't look away, because the experimental aerodynamic beast coming up at number 10 was so rare it was literally abandoned in a field. Number 10. 1970 Ford Torino King Cobra. As the 1970s dawned, the fierce NASCAR aero wars were in full swing. Ford needed a lethal weapon to fight off the winged Mopars, and their bold answer was the 1970 Ford Torino King Cobra. Boasting a radically sloped front nose and powered by the legendary Boss 429 V8, this car was designed purely to slice through the air on massive superspeedways. However, just as Ford was preparing to unleash it, NASCAR changed their strict homologation rules, rendering the King Cobra obsolete before it ever officially raced. Ford abruptly canceled the program, leaving only 3 prototypes in existence. In a bizarre twist of fate, one of these ultra-rare test cars was found decades later abandoned and rotting in a farmer's field before being meticulously restored. Today, they are untouchable artifacts of racing history. If 3 prototypes sound incredibly scarce, wait till you hear about number 9, a convertible that made collectors pay 7-figure sums just to own one. Number 9. 1969 Pontiac GTO Judge Ram Air 4 Convertible. When you think of peak 1960s swagger, you think of the Pontiac GTO, the Judge. But to find true exclusivity, you have to look at the 1969 Pontiac GTO Judge Ram Air 4 Convertible. General Motors built plenty of GTOs, but the Ram Air 4 engine was a special high-revving race-bred power plant that most casual buyers ignored due to its massive cost. When you combine that ferocious engine, an automatic transmission, and a convertible top, you get an anomaly so rare it almost feels like a myth. Exactly 5 of these identically optioned convertibles were ever produced by the factory. It's an iconic piece of muscle car royalty that perfectly captures the golden era's opulence and unapologetic power. Can you imagine cruising down the coast in a masterwork so exclusive it essentially doesn't exist on paper? Keep watching, because the stripped-down, lethal track weapon coming up at number 8 is guaranteed to leave you speechless. Number 8. 1963 Pontiac Catalina Swiss Cheese. If you want to understand the sheer desperation of the early 1960s horsepower wars, look no further than the 1963 Pontiac Catalina Swiss Cheese. Pontiac engineers were obsessed with dominating the drag strip, but the Catalina frame was simply too heavy. Their solution? Absolute madness. They stripped out the interior, replaced heavy steel panels with aluminum, and literally drilled over 100 large holes into the chassis frame rails to shave off every possible ounce. This extreme weight reduction tactic earned the car its legendary Swiss cheese nickname. Powered by a monstrous 421-inch Super Duty V8, it was terrifyingly fast. Unfortunately, General Motors abruptly issued a strict corporate ban on factory racing that same year, halting production immediately. Only 14 of these drilled-out dragsters were ever made, making them priceless relics. While the Swiss cheese was violently stripped down, the absolute monster lurking at number 7 was secretly sold only to a select few who knew how to crack Chevrolet's code. Number 7. 1967 Chevrolet Corvette L88. The 1967 Chevrolet Corvette L88 is the car General Motors explicitly did not want you to buy. Chevrolet executives wanted this track-ready beast strictly in the hands of professional racers, not the general public. To scare off ordinary buyers, they grossly underrated the engine at a laughable 430 horsepower, though in reality it pumped out well over 500. Furthermore, they made the car highly impractical for daily driving by permanently removing the heater, the radio, and the air conditioning. Because of these harsh deterrents and the incredibly expensive premium on the engine package, only 20 individuals checked the L88 option box in 1967. Today, this masterwork of raw power is an untouchable icon of American automotive lore, with pristine examples commanding nearly $4 million at auction. It is a genuine legendary secret of the 1960s. You'll definitely want to stick around for number 6, though. It's the holy grail of Mopar that absolutely shattered global auction records.
Number 6. 1971 Plymouth Hemi Cuda Convertible. Enter the undisputed heavyweight champion of Mopar royalty, the 1971 Plymouth Hemi Cuda Convertible. In the muscle car universe, the 426 Hemi engine is the stuff of legends, famously nicknamed the Elephant for its massive size and devastating power. Dropping that engine into the sleek, menacing body of a 1971 Barracuda was already a bold move, but doing it in a convertible chassis was exceptionally rare. The premium price tag meant very few buyers opted for this sun-soaked configuration. In fact, only 11 of these convertibles were built for the 1971 model year. This scarcity has turned the Hemi Cuda convertible into the Mona Lisa of Detroit muscle. When one surfaces at auction, it commands breathtaking sums, routinely eclipsing the $3.5 million mark. It is purely priceless. What would it be like to own a vehicle with such commanding road presence? Well, the prototype sitting at number 5 is so elusive, it's entirely one of a kind.
Number 5. 1968 Ford Shelby Mustang EXP 500 Green Hornet. Carroll Shelby was a man who never stopped experimenting, and the 1968 Shelby EXP 500, affectionately known as the Green Hornet, was his ultimate personal playground. This wasn't just another Mustang, it was a highly classified rolling laboratory for automotive innovation. Shelby outfitted the Green Hornet with groundbreaking technology that was years ahead of its time, including Conelec electronic fuel injection, a unique independent rear suspension, and specialized four-wheel disc brakes. After extensive testing, Ford executives decided the production costs would be far too high and ordered the prototype to be sent to the crusher. However, by an absolute miracle, the Green Hornet slipped through the cracks and survived. Today, it remains a true one-of-one legendary ghost of the late 1960s, a testament to what American engineering could achieve when unchained. The Green Hornet's survival is miraculous, but wait until you see the ultra-secret Corvette at number 4 that practically doesn't exist. Number 4. 1969 Chevrolet Corvette ZL1. In 1969, Chevrolet offered an option so exorbitantly priced that it was almost comical. The ZL1 package was essentially a race-spec all-aluminum 427 cubic inch V8 that weighed roughly the same as a small block, but produced terrifying levels of horsepower. The catch? The ZL1 option cost a staggering $4,700, more than doubling the base price of the actual Corvette itself. Because of this astronomical financial barrier, the general public simply couldn't afford it. In the entire 1969 production run, only 2 brave buyers actually checked the option box for the ZL1. This staggering rarity makes it the absolute holy grail for Corvette collectors today, an untouchable masterwork of raw, unfiltered American muscle. 2 is a wildly low production number, but the legendary snake coiled at number 3 is a literal one-of-a-kind creation that comes with a dangerously dark Hollywood backstory. Number 3. 1966 Shelby Cobra 427 Super Snake. When a standard 427 Shelby Cobra wasn't terrifying enough, Shelby decided to build the ultimate Super Snake. He took the already massive 427 V8 and bolted on twin Paxton superchargers, creating an 800-horsepower monstrosity that could hit 200 miles per hour in the mid-1960s. Shelby only ever built 2 of these absolute widowmakers. He kept one for himself and gifted the other to legendary comedian Bill Cosby. Cosby found the car so violently uncontrollable that he promptly returned it. The next owner tragically proved Cosby's fears right, driving the car off a cliff into the Pacific Ocean. That leaves Shelby's personal Super Snake as the only one left in existence today. It is the ultimate legendary masterwork of danger and speed, famously selling for over $5.1 million at auction. If the Super Snake blew your mind, you won't believe the engineering marvel at number 2 that practically redefined the Shelby brand. Number 2. 1967 Shelby GT 500 Super Snake. Not to be confused with the Cobra, the 1967 Shelby Mustang GT 500 Super Snake is a standalone automotive myth. The story begins when Goodyear approached Carroll Shelby to test a newly developed line of economy tires. Shelby, being the mad genius he was, decided the best way to test tires was to take a lightweight Le Mans-winning 427 racing engine from a Ford GT40 Mk2 and shove it directly into a Mustang chassis. During a 500-mile test run, Shelby himself drove the car to a blistering average speed of 142 miles per hour, peaking at an insane 170 miles per hour. Despite its stunning performance, the car was deemed far too expensive for mass production, costing twice as much as a regular GT500. The project was scrapped, leaving this single prototype as a spectacular one-of-one, multi-million-dollar masterwork. We are finally at the end. The vehicle holding our #1 spot is an aerodynamic marvel that changed the course of car design forever. Number 1. 1964 Shelby Daytona Cobra Coupe. Taking the crown as the rarest, most era-defining American vintage car ever built is the 1964 Shelby Daytona Cobra Coupe. In the early 1960s, Carroll Shelby had a singular, obsessive goal to dethrone Ferrari at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. His open-top Cobras had the horsepower, but they lacked the aerodynamics to hit the speeds needed on the grueling Mulsanne Straight. Enter designer Peter Brock, who penned a revolutionary teardrop-shaped body with a flat cam tail. The result was a radical, almost alien-looking coupe that flawlessly sliced through the air, allowing it to reach nearly 200 miles per hour. It didn't just beat Ferrari, it utterly dominated the GT class and secured the World Sports Car Championship for America. Only 6 of these priceless masterpieces were ever constructed. The Daytona Coupe isn't just a car, it is the ultimate iconic masterwork that forever altered the science of automotive aerodynamics. It is without a doubt a treasure that money can't buy. What a breathtaking ride through the absolute pinnacle of American automotive history. From the wild, untamed horsepower of the 1960s to the audacious, turbocharged extremes of the 1980s, these vehicles are so much more than mere machines. They are undeniably priceless art pieces on wheels, serving as untouchable masterworks that defined an entire era of brilliant engineering. Even decades later, they remain the ultimate legendary icons of speed, luxury, and exclusivity. To own just one of these artifacts is to possess a tangible piece of a glorious, bygone golden age. If you think these vintage beasts are rare, wait until we explore the hidden, ultra-exclusive supercars in the 1990s in our next video. Which of these 12 rare gems would you give anything to own? Comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more journeys through automotive history.